Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Patholkas, and it's time for the Peripheral Season 1, Episode 4 Jackpot. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, and we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, if you can, please hit that subscribe button down below there and also hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to, if you feel lucky or you feel like gambling, you can hit that bell down below, and YouTube may or may not notify you when I come on live. Best thing to do is go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media there and all the links to my pages as well. All right, let's get to it, shall we? Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. Giving you enough time to run away and do whatever you need to. Hit the pause button. Okay. So we finally get a little glimpse of the future as to what happened and what the jackpot is in all of this. Flynn is having mystery flare-ups of her time in the peripheral after being hit by whatever that sound blast cannon was that she got hit. She keeps having stuff appear in the real world, like her eye starts looking all bloodshot, like she's been beat the hell up, and also a black eye. She has a seizure. Her hand keeps, uncontrollably cramping up, things of that nature. So much so that, you know, her brother ends up taking her over to the hospital. Burton ends up taking her over to, the doctor to get a checkup. And the doctor says, well, let's run an MRI because, we're not seeing anything. And, they kind of have to tell her that they're using a headset. And so she's like, well, stop using the headset. And then also she asks Burton for the name of the company so that she can contact them because it's an experimental headset, as he puts it. So, yeah, where do they go from here at that point? So she's not supposed to be using any headset really, but she's kind of going through home movies, if you will. So, home movies that were shot in just regular 2D. There is a company that makes a sim version of home movies. So she's actually sitting there watching her and Burton as children in Halloween with her father. And who comes into that uh, headset but Wilf? And Wilf comes in. This is after, of course, Connor has gone and come in using Flynn's peripheral and kind of creates a little bit of havoc in the future there. Him and the two guys at the print shop, they Eddie and Macon, and they of course have been hacking the stream in order to keep Flynn's peripheral online as Connor is trying to kind of get a lay of the land and see what's going on there. And of course, they end up getting cut off, but still, Connor gets a little taste of it and wants more. But anyway, Wilf ends up coming into Flynn's 2D movie. How, we don't know. And this is another thing, is if he can just walk in there, what else does he have access to? It's kind of creepy. And she tells Wilf, about Lev. Uh, she knows that Lev's name, Lev Zuboff. And so she goes, yeah, I did a little research, and there's only one Lev Zuboff that I know of, that I found, and his whole family. He and his family and his children are all dead, is what she said. He was some kind of mafia, is what she said. Wilf seems a little surprised by this information and ends up, telling her that she needs to come back, and that the headset is not the problem for whatever is ailing her. It might be something else. So, Burton, Connor, and her have a little talk about that, and she decides to go back in, and she gets to talk to Lev. well, actually, I should say Wilf ends up talking to Lev and imparts the information about his family in the past being killed off. And Lev says, "Yeah." He goes, "I did that." He goes, "Can't have multiple versions of myself running around in stubs, in all these different stubs." He goes, "It's kind of unsettling." He goes, "I would have done the same thing for you." He goes, "But your lineage is a little more questionable," as he puts it. Um, which brings up the question, okay, so how far into an alternate reality are we then with where Flynn is? Are we now in as they call this, a stub, the branch off of the real timeline, or this is where it's getting confusing. I don't think William Gibson ever really thought this through, and you think that Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan might have cleaned this up a little bit more, being the producers that they are. So this part is kind of making my brain hurt trying to think of where how you could have the future dictate the past and change the past in a way where you are branching off alternate timelines and yet still not affecting the future. It doesn't seem like you're able to do that unless I don't know. It seemed kind of odd, to me anyway, as I'm looking at all of this. So Flynn also, when she ends up going back to the future, she is trying to get bodies for both Burton and Connor at this point because they both want bodies there to see what's going on. And she is also trying to make her way out there, as Burton puts it. What do you do best in a sim? How do you beat any sim that you're in? And she talks about how she does this, that she goes against script, and that's actually what she's doing, and she is trying to find out what is really going on in the future. And that is where um, Ash ends up taking her out to basically a cemetery to show her what the jackpot actually is. And so we find out the jackpot is actually a series of events that leads to basically the apocalypse, is really what we're getting at here. So we have a hacker that takes on the North American power grid for years at a time, and it happens quite frequently. And that's 7 years from when Flynn's timeline actually is, from where she's living at right now. And then not even more than a couple years later, you end up having this really nasty virus that basically allows a lot of blood buildup into the kidneys, the abdomen, all that kind of stuff until people burst, basically like little blood balloons, if you will. And then on top of that, uh, there's a someone hijacks one of the nuclear silos in the town that Flynn lives in and blows it up. And that's kind of the final straw of all of this stuff that leads to a cascade of ecological disasters, things of that nature that are happening. And anarchy, essentially, is what happens. We also find out that there are three pillars in the future of what pulled everything out of the chaos. There were the mafia people, of course. There are the police, and then there is Sharice's group, the Research Institute. Uh, and yeah, it's kind of interesting when they're dissecting it this way. It's a little bit fast, rough, and dirty, and they're really not giving us. They're not hand holding us, which I kind of like. This at the same time, I don't like parts of it, but it isn't a bad way of doing this show, to tell you the truth. Um, it's not mystery box. They are giving us answers, but they are not spoon feeding us those answers. They are just kind of going, here's the information, you make of it what you will. And I'm trying to figure out some of it, but some of it doesn't make sense. Like I said, the stub portion of it doesn't make any sense. Um, and then there's the whole, are the future people still in reality, or are they in a virtual reality? And that's why we have quantum tunneling able to work with the people that are in the past. This is the whole thing that's kind of confusing right now. And I know we're going to get some more answers out of this, but right now it's kind of maddening, is really what it is. So yeah, so Wilf also tells Flynn that Alita is his sister because of course they grew up that way. We saw that at the very beginning of this episode too of how um, they were eking out a living in London and how they got captured. And so yeah, it's a fairly interesting world that we're in this in all of this. Uh, and we know, of course, that at some point in time, Pickett's going to get involved in all of this again as well, and he's going to come after uh, the Fisher family at this point. So, because they're going to have to. Also, Charisse is sniffing around Lev at this point. She knows that Lev was the one that hired Alita to go and steal from her, as she puts it. And Charisse ends up taking Lev's coffee cup because she needs his DNA in order to let loose a weapon that would basically destroy him and his family. Anybody who has his DNA would be deconstructed, as she says, from the nanobots, basically the nano swarm that she would release, which seems like a pretty horrific way to go. So, yeah, there's a little game afoot going on here. It's almost kind of like Game of Thrones in a way, but there's also the future aspect of it and time travel and alternate realities. It's a mishmash of stuff that's put together here that I don't know if it's going to make sense. If it's not pulled together by the end of this season to make sense of it all, then it's not going to work. And from what I understand, now that Westworld has been canceled, Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan are now going all in on all of this with Amazon. As a matter of fact, they're making new deals with Amazon right now as we speak. So they are most likely going to be bringing all their production company, Off Kilter Production, as I believe is what it's called. They're going to be bringing that over to Amazon and doing a whole bunch more stuff over there. So yeah, I don't think we've seen. I think we're going to get a second season out of this fairly easily. And I think we're going to get a lot more, uh, advertising for this as well. So right now it's been pretty much on the download, pretty low key. Like I said, I found out about the show by accident about a couple of weeks before it was going to start. And, so yeah, of all of those things, and it's actually turning out to be a pretty good show. I like this show. I like where we're going with it, but like I said, if they don't stick the landing by the end of this season, it could be another Westworld brewing, a Westworld season 3 is what I'll say, brewing in all of this if they don't stick the landing by the end of the season. So, with that said, what else do I have going on for the rest of this week? Well, tomorrow is going to be the Sunday edition of Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and any genre stuff you guys want to talk about, and we talk about it. Monday, I'll be off. Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? I don't know what I'm doing as of yet, but I'll figure out something. Or it could also be spoiler alert, one of the two. Wednesday and Thursday, I'm going to be off because Thursday I'm going to be going to see Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. And Friday will be Titans. There we go. Titans season 4, episode 3. And then excuse me, Friday is going to be the Peripheral, episode 5. There we go. Saturday is going to be Titans season 4, episode 3. There we go. Sorry about that. I kind of got those two mixed up there. So take a look at the schedule. I put it up every week, as Penn has put up there in the chat. And with that said, I'm going to let you guys go for the rest of the night. Thank you to everybody who joined me tonight in the chat. And thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. You know who you are out there. Take a look at the video up here. If you like what you see there, please, if you can, hit that like button or the subscribe button down below there. It's getting to that point now this weekend. Also, if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media there and all the links to my pages as well. Thank you, everyone. I will see you again tomorrow for the Sunday edition of Saturday Morning Blast Off. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up getting some mysterious headset 3D printed from the future that involves quantum tunneling, I think, and maybe some, alternate timelines, things of that. I don't know exactly what's going on. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Have a good rest of your night. Stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, get those vaccine shots, get the boosters as well. They don't work without the boosters. And stay safe out there, everyone. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your night. Good night, everyone. Thanks.